Next on our agenda, I have a huge pleasure in introducing Dr. Clement Waine, who is the leader of the PNG STEM Curriculum Writing Team, to give an overview of the PNG STEM Curriculum writers' work to date. I know Dr. Waine has extensive knowledge and experience that we can all learn from, but we are running a bit behind. So in the interest of time, I'm asking you to please keep it short, but otherwise over to you, Dr. Waine.
Yes. All right, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you for the team that's gathered across different sites. I'll just sort of give you the background and the major thrust of the STEM curriculum development that we have been undertaking since September of last year. Basically, we realized that it's a disruptive intervention in what was done previously or what has been in existence up until now. So STEM curriculum was that disruptive intervention. I think it is necessary to do it in order to position the country correctly to enter this the 21st century knowledge-based economy, as the Secretary words quoted by, I think, Pam in the last presentation. We realized that we were dealing with designing the curriculum for grade 11 and grade 12 students who will become the next leaders of the country. So we had to design something that will basically position them to capture the emerging situations, conditions, and opportunities that are arriving in the next couple of decades. And the curriculum itself, I always say that if we were fortunate enough to have John F. Kennedy coming back from his graveyard and telling us to send the men to the moon and bring them back safe, sound, and alive, we would have designed a curriculum that was basically geared towards achieving that objective. But we don't have the luxury of that political direction or that specific political direction. Instead, we have a collection of national strategic policy documents, the national constitution, and the education policies, and the School of Excellence policy and the STEM education policy, which was launched by the Prime Minister last year, June. Those were the undergirding policy constitutional legislation matrix that informs us of the policy of the curriculum. And also the strategic documents, things like the Vision 2050, Strategic Development Plan 2030, and medium-term development plans for the country. So our policy or our curriculum was designed around those strategic policy imperatives. We also realized that we were in a shifting geopolitical situation in the region as well as the globe. And while we were writing, COVID-19 became dominant. And I think COVID-19 is an inflection point in the geopolitical order insofar as this regional geopolitics is concerned. And we also realized that Australia's role and position within the fraternity of nations is going to become a bit more dominant. So we have to capture that emerging situation into and reflect it into our curriculum. As we know, Australia is already a member of the G20 and is a middle power. And as a result of that position, it will play or expected to play an elevated role within the region as well as the globe. And as it rises up to the top, it will leave behind gaps that it would traditionally play within the region, within the Pacific area. And those gaps will most likely be filled by New Zealand and to an extent by Papua New Guinea. But then we also realized that the education system under the OBE over the last decades has not generated or created a level of the talent pool that is necessary to rise in lockstep or to position the country to rise in lockstep with the emerging geopolitical situations and Australia's rise in that context. So as a result of it, we sat down and we sort of brainstorm over how do we write a curriculum that reflects all of those above scenarios, and then try to capture it and prospect what the future is going to look like. What sort of job opportunities will be created with the advent of artificial intelligence, with the advent of what Elon Musk is doing with electrical vehicles, and with all of the 5G coming through, all of those things. How should the workplace build? How should look like? How should the new talent pool should come out to capture the emerging opportunities that are coming out? And then we also realized that we have comparative advantages and disadvantages and constraints that are inherent to us uniquely because of our own geological and geographical positions. So we also need to capture this into our write-up. So those were the motivating factors that guided and underpin our thinking in designing this curriculum. We've scoured the world to see what would be the best type of curriculum syllabus that we should be developing. It's blurry. Anyway, we had to come up with one that we think is more relevant to Papua New Guinea in that context. So by prospecting the future, we've identified, I think, 12 key areas that we think we need to work on. Those areas are now, we call them thematic areas or thema in our curriculum design. And they are in the order of the way we are writing them now. It's biodiversity, biotechnology, public health and medicine, energy, battery technology, waste management, infrastructure, earth sciences. And in the A12, we'll introduce artificial intelligence, information science, and entrepreneurship. So as the quote from the secretary, which Pam quoted in her presentation, you saw that the intention of having the STEM education in Papua New Guinea is to generate the next, or to create the next generation of inventors, innovators, and entrepreneurship that's based on a knowledge-based economy. So it's the commercialization of those intellectual properties that comes out of the studies or the science and other the STEM subjects that students study, and to create those things. So those are the major motivations and how we see the future is going to be in the type of students that we want to generate. Because we are doing these things on the fly, it's like we are stressed against time, and we have to work to deliver it. And in most cases, we don't necessarily pick up all those different aspects of what we want to do. But let me highlight one key, just a point, just to buttress those points that I just made earlier on. And biodiversity, which is the thematic area of biodiversity, which just rolled out in the second term for grade 11s. In that area, we talk about the agricultural diversity that we have in Papua New Guinea, which is probably one of the largest in the world. But there's a specific case study in there, in that thema or thematic area, which talks about the Fei banana, which is a banana native to the Pacific, but more so to PNG. The gene for vitamin A was cloned by, I think, Professor Daly at the University of Queensland University of Technology, and it's then incorporated into the Cavendish banana, and then and then regenerated as a GMO and exported to Uganda to solve Uganda's vitamin A deficiency issue. So at Papua New Guinea gene pool was harnessed through Australian technologies and solve an existing problem far across the world. So I think those sort of ideas highlights what this STEM can become if we do it right, where we build on our comparative advantages, in this particular case, our genetic diversity of agricultural crops to solve global problems. If we work hand in glove with Australian technologists and Australian scientists to sort of do all these things. And so we highlight these things. Now, we've embedded a lot of these key learning points from geopolitics in order for people and the students that are coming through, who will be the next leaders in the coming decades, governing this country, to be cognizant or to be aware that these geopolitical situations that we find now will be the overriding influence in their thinking and decision making going forward. For instance, when I was growing up, my worldview was basically between the West versus the Soviet bloc countries. So you couldn't get your PhD in Moscow, you couldn't get your PhD in Warsaw, Poland, you couldn't get it in China, for instance. But now the world is opening up in a different way. You could get your PhD in Moscow, you can get your PhD in China, you can get your PhD anywhere. So this is the sort of situation we are faced now. So we need to then quickly organize ourselves to begin to now see where these changes are happening. And I think the construct that the geopolitical construct that we'll be entering in the coming decades will be dominated by the Indo-Pacific. So how we align ourselves with Australia and New Zealand, with the rest of the Indo-China, how we align with that and the rest of the Pacific and the Americas will dictate and influence the worldview of the emerging leaders that are coming up. So those are the basic background from which we have crafted this curriculum. We rolled out a bridging program in term 1 of for grade 11th, and the reason is because they don't have that level of competency to do the science, technology, engineering, mathematics from the courses that they learned from grade 7 up to 10. So we needed to make sure that those bridging happens. So they are sort of upskilled to undertake the STEM. That's first. The second point is that we have condensed foundation programs at the university, year 11, year 12 into 10 weeks. We've seen a varying degree of success at the different schools, given the constraints within those school settings. But all in all, I think the students have demonstrated a reliable degree of tolerance and resilience, which I think is very comforting, and it gives us level of confidence now to go to the next level. But we also learn now that we are incorporating those key points that we've learned from the teachers feeding back to us. So I think doing STEM for me and personally is that it is a good thing that it happened to PNG. It's as I said earlier on, it's a disruptive intervention that is necessary, that needs to happen. But I think these sort of discussions that we have now should have been done earlier on so that it can inform us, so we can write in a different way and think more creatively. But nonetheless, I really appreciate that this meeting has happened. As I told Aaron and Junior in our meeting at the Department of Higher Education, also Department of Education, is that the region is only as strong as its weakest link. And I continue to see PNG presents a weakest link in any dimensions and any combinations that you look at. So we need to, we have a work cut out for us to really train the next generation of leaders to rise up and to see the world differently and to play a dominant role and to support what Australia should do in the Asia Pacific region. And I see a lot of things that we've been talking about that have been captured by the different speakers. which is sort of gives us another level of confidence in what we have done with amongst our team. We have like 23 writers from universities and from industry participants that come to help us to write these things. We base our, if you like it, pedagogy or curriculum based upon what you call ASCA, which is, or AXA, which is the attitude and the appreciation of the content itself, and then the knowledge that underpins that topic or that thematic area, followed by the skill sets that students need to pick up, and then the application of those knowledge and skills in real life situations. So we've got each module, and our curriculum is more modular, so you can pick and choose whatever you want and you can deliver them. If you miss one aspect of it in one term, you can always pick it up in the other term as well, or from another course. So we have blocked out, and by introducing a thematic area, and I appreciate the presentation by Erica, I think from the agriculture one. It's almost exactly as how we would do it in a thematic setting. So we block out, for instance, the 1 month it's on energy, and everybody's teaching energy from whether it's on science, whether it's technology, whether it's engineering or mathematics, they all teach on energy. So you can go from one classroom to the next, it's all energy. So students are saturated on energy and they don't have to learn anything else. And within energy, an example would be that from the electrical energy side, they pick up inspirations and they pick up the knowledge about photosynthesis, how plants release the electrons to now generate the photosynthetic system. So you don't have to learn photosynthesis in a biology setting, you learn it from electrical energies, but still you learn photosynthesis or a fundamental biological process in plants. So those are the sort of things that our curriculum is sort of nested. At the same time, it's modular, so you can pick it up from different places. So it's got a lot of other thinking that goes into it as well. It's just not just trying to design a education system. It's just designing a system that approaches the future as well as the emerging situation globally. We had to bring health and public health and medicine to the fore and roll it out in term 2 because of the COVID situation. So those are the things that you can mix and match and move things quickly on a timely basis if situation changes and given all the constraints at the school level. So those are the basic, I think, impetus for our STEM curriculum write-up. I think I said pretty much most of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Waine, and for that very comprehensive overview and detail of the background and the rationale for the new STEM curriculum. It's certainly an inspiring and a very future-focused initiative for the young people of PNG moving forward and finding their place in the world. So thank you.